I made some serious allegations here against powerful people. I want to say clearly, without any doubt in my mind, if something happens to me in the next 30 days, if I'm run over by a runaway truck, if I'm killed by a crackhead while I'm sitting in my car, even if I'm struck by lightning on a clear sky day, I point my finger at the people that caused my death on Judge Greg McGowley, the ex-Congresswoman Corrine Brown, Reginald Gaffney, and some of the JSO officers that I listed in this presentation. If anything happened to me, these are the people that need to be investigated. Thank you very much.
This is a circus. It's a national disgrace. It is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks who in any way deign to think for themselves. And it is a message that unless you kowtow to an old order, you will be lynched, destroyed, caricatured by a committee of the U.S. Senate rather than hung from a tree.
Good morning, dobre utro, buongiorno, boker tov, ndaminalu, shalom alaikum, assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammed Saleh. I am originally from Asmara, Eritrea. Most people know that country as Ethiopia, used to be called Ethiopia. I'm 68 years old. I practiced medicine in the United States since 1982. I have multiple board certifications, as you will shortly see, and many of you probably know me from billboards like this one, or you've probably seen my hammers advertising my business in town. Actually, we had two hammers, a white one and a yellow one. I'm sure many of you remember that. Or a billboard like this on Beach Boulevard, on I-95, on I-10. This is the office building on San Marco. You probably driven by there many times. I had my license to practice medicine in Florida on February 21st, 1984, until January 2013, when it was not renewed under very shady circumstances. And the purpose of this presentation is to say my side of the story. I'm the victim of what I call techno-lynching or crypto-lynching. We know that traditional lynching doesn't happen anymore. Actually, the last time that it happened was on March 21st, 1981 in Mobile, Alabama, when they lynched Michael Donald, 21-year-old black man. What happens today is crypto-lynching, and the perpetrators of crypto-lynching are usually mobs of black Americans and white Americans. And the victims are not only people of color. Anybody can be a victim of crypto-lynching. Crypto, like in hidden lynching. I graduated from medical school in Italy in 1979. I graduated from the oldest medical school in Europe at the University of Bologna in Italy. I came to the United States and attended the University of Florida, where I completed residency training in psychiatry and neurology. I then went to New York, where I trained in internal medicine at Harlem Hospital. Came back to Florida in 1987, worked for 6 months as a psychiatrist at the Mental Health Resource Center on Beach Boulevard, and then worked as a medical director of the Mental Health Center of Jacksonville on 28th Street. I opened my practice on San Marco Boulevard in 1988. I operated the practice by myself for 6 years with the help of my sister and my brothers. Then in 1996, I was married to a Maria Graciela Saleh, and we became a classical mom and pop operation. She took care of the administrative tasks, and I took care of the patients. And we were very successful. In 2006, we opened an office in Nevada, and for 4 years, I was flying to Nevada every week to see patients there. In fact, frequently I was flying to Nevada by private jet. In this picture, you see me holding cards in my hands. Another reason I opened the office in Las Vegas is because my hobby is magic. And I am still attending when I can, the Las Vegas School of Magic and Mystery. And I am a master magician. But about my practice, which is the most important topic of this presentation, I have multiple board certifications. I'm certified by the American Board of Psychiatry. I skip one slide. American Board of Psychiatry and Neurology. I am board certified by the American Board of Addiction Medicine, forensic psychiatry. I'm also trained in internal medicine. By the way, this PowerPoint presentation you can find on the website, the saga of Saleh.org, which is at the bottom of your screen. Subsequent, during this period of time, between 1998 to 2011, our practice grew progressively by leaps and bounds. I will show you now the income for the 10 years, the first 10 years of the practice. Now, I want you to be aware that the success of the practice was not only due to my abilities, but also to the abilities of my former wife, Maria Graciela Saleh. She is probably the most organized, the most compulsive, compulsive, organized person I have ever met. She never missed a date with our insurance, licensing, and what have you. You can see from 1998 to 2007 grew progressively. 2007, we reported in our IRS return $1,370,000. But this is the very next year, there was a drop of $500,000. And 2 years later, there is a drop of $1 million. But you will be really amazed when you see the income for the following decade, from 2011 to 2020. I want you to think a little bit about this slide and the slide that you've seen before. There is no way a medical practice is going to drop from $1.5 million a year to under $40,000 a year unless something really bad happened. And something bad did happen. I was crypto-lynched by a coalition of white Americans that suffer from malignant racism and black Americans, described by an American, a famous American personality, House Negroes. They crypto-lynched me by doing three things. They placed undue influence on my naive, gullible, innocent former wife, Maria Graciela Saleh, and embezzled all of our life savings. Then they fabricated a crime in Nevada to prevent renewal of my Florida license. Then they created a false entry in the National Practitioner Data Bank to poison my Nevada license. The whole idea was to prevent me from having any income or generating any income to protect myself. Money is a weapon. If you don't have money, you are at the mercy of who is attacking you. Who was attacking me? I'm going to show you a list of people. In today's presentation, I will speak of some of these individuals. But like I told you at the beginning, this is a 7-part presentation in which I will address every allegation I am making in this. The ringleader of this coalition of African Americans and Black Americans was a disgraced 18 times felon, ex-Congresswoman Corrine Brown. But she was not, she used her enormous power as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives to destroy my life, to destroy the most important developmental years of my daughters and to essentially put me in this cage without bars. For the last 8 years, I've been prevented from working. Basically, they took away my constitutional right to practice my profession of 40 years in the state of my choice. They took away from me the right to provide for my children, and they placed me in a very precarious situations. And the purpose of this presentation, again, is to tell my side of the story and to ask for your assistance. Please, when you're done visiting this presentation, visit the website where you will have additional information. Here are other individuals that assisted the Congresswoman. Senator Harry Reid of Nevada. I'm not making these allegations lightly. I have good reasons for making these allegations. And I will present my evidence as we go forward. Cynthia Hooks Highsmith was a DEA office in Nevada. Thomas Carroll, the Deputy Chief DA District Attorney for Clark County, Nevada. Judge Craig McCauley in the 4th Judicial Circuit in Duval County. Reginald Gaffney, or Deuce. Reginald Estelle Jr., a lawyer that was disbarred in 2017 by the Florida Supreme Court. Horace Dossier with the Agency for Healthcare Administration. Brian Murphy, a retired police officer. And then several police officers, JSO Solomon Bannister, Glenn Miller, Alex Chambers, etc. You can read their names. And again, you can find this information in the website. And I will have a presentation specifically to speak about what the role of JSO in the destruction of an African American family and the destruction of an African American physician, a pillar of the community. Susan Pinieski, an ambulance chaser and an ethical lawyer. Amy Caraway with the Department of Health. Carmen Jelly. Arresting Officer K.A. White, I wrote his name in blue for a reason. These officers are involved with the unlawful arrest that they perpetrated on July 19, 2012. There were about 10 police cars, but none of the officers wanted to arrest me because they knew it was unlawful. So they called Trooper K.A. White, who was a rookie at the time. In fact, I was his first arrest, but I will have an entire hour to explain this. Now I'm going to go into showing you the evidence of how they fabricated a crime to prevent the renewal of my Florida license. Once you receive your medical license, you apply with the DEA to obtain a license to prescribe controlled substances for your patients. So in 1984, after receiving my Florida license, I applied with the DEA and I received a DEA license to prescribe controlled substances. I did that for 29 years without ever getting into any trouble. Then in 2006, we opened an office in Nevada. And once we opened the office in Nevada, I applied for with the Nevada Board of Pharmacy for a controlled substance registration in order to obtain a second DEA number. Unfortunately, I didn't complete the process. Now, I practiced in Nevada from 2006 until 2010 and wrote 3,070 prescriptions for controlled substances by using the DEA number that was valid for Florida. I failed to complete the process to obtain a second one. That was an infraction, a paperwork infraction. In October 2010, let me take you back a little bit. Have you seen the tax return? You've seen that our income dropped dramatically in 2008, 2009, and 2010. In 2009, when I realized that our income was dropping dramatically, and I understood who was behind it, I tried to work things out with my former wife because I really didn't care about the money. I really wanted to save my marriage. Unfortunately, that did not work out. On October 18, 2010, I filed for dissolution of the marriage. Less than 2 weeks after that, I received a call from the Board of Pharmacy in Nevada advising me that I didn't have the second DEA number for Nevada and that I was in violation of Nevada laws because I was using a Florida DEA number instead of a Nevada DEA number. On January 11, 2011, they scheduled a hearing, a disciplinary hearing with the Nevada Board of Pharmacy to discuss the reasons why I didn't have the second DEA number. The day before the disciplinary hearing, on January the 10th, I received a subpoena from the DA. This is what this slide talks about, if you read it while I was talking. The subpoena was sent to me by Rosario, Paul Rosario, who was a DEA special agent in charge of the Las Vegas DEA field office. This subpoena specifically states, was written on January the 10th. You cannot read it, but as I said, you can go into the website and download the actual document. And requests the chart, the medical record of 6 patients, including Nathan Pickett, Katrina Humes, and Tyler Henderson. And specifically states to deliver this record via facsimile, by mail, or in person by January 26, 2011. There is no indication for arrest or detention. But the very next day, Kendra Steele arrests me immediately after the disciplinary hearing of the Board of Pharmacy. As you see in the subpoena states to deliver a record to her by January 26th. But on January 11th, she actually arrests me for not having the second DEA number. This is the arrest report handwritten, and this is a transcript of the arrest report. The arrest report states clearly on the first page that I had a valid DEA number for Florida. So I was licensed to prescribe controlled substance in the United States. At this time, only for Florida. And states in the last paragraph that I applied for a second DEA number for Nevada, but I didn't complete the process. And that's why I was being disciplined. That is maybe 3 months later, on March 29, 2011, the district attorney that was in charge of my case dismissed the charges. If you read this slide, and here is the document. The document specifically states that at this time they are not gonna pursue any charges. But essentially, they dismissed the charges, and that was the right thing to do. I thought that was the end of it. That was not the case. 7 months later, a higher-ranking district attorney, Thomas Carroll, he unlawfully modifies the charges. He reinstates the charges that were dismissed in March and unlawfully modifies them to a conspiracy. And this is the document that shows that they were unlawfully modified to a conspiracy. The charges were for writing prescription without the proper DEA number, but the higher-ranking district attorney, he modifies them to a conspiracy. But also, on page 2 of the information sheet, he indicates as co-conspirators Nathan Pickett, Katrina Humes, and Tyler Henderson. These are the same 3 people that were listed in the subpoena from the Paul Rosario from the DA, the subpoena requesting their medical records. This is a confirmation that those were my patients. Therefore, the word conspiracy does not apply. It's a fabrication. Further, on document B3 was an order issued by the Investigative Committee of the Nevada Board of Medical Examiners. If you read it, this is a document. This document specifically requested the medical record of Nathan Pickett, Katrina Hummus, and Tyler Henderson. Again, another official document that confirms that those three could not be conspirators because they were my legal, lawful patients that for whom I prescribed controlled substance for the previous 3 years. Further, on October 2017, I received an email from the director of the Nevada Board of Medical Examiners, David Edward Coisano. The director clearly states in his email that they still have the charts of those three patients, Nathan Pickett, Katrina Hummus, and Tyler Henderson. Another document that proves that those three were my patients, lawful patients, and they could not possibly be co-conspirators. Further, the district attorney for Nevada, for Clark County, not only reinstated the charges and unlawfully modified them, but he told me that because that was my first offense and I was a 58-year-old physician with no previous criminal record, he was going to withhold adjudication. He didn't do that. He actually convicted me of the misdemeanor. Why? You can read on document C1, C2. A year later, on September 10, 2012, at ACA in Florida, they have a meeting. And in this meeting, they terminate me from Medicaid with cause. You can read here, because you pled guilty to so blah blah misdemeanor charge in Nevada, we're going to terminate you from Medicaid. That was a formal hearing. Mind you, I did not even notice, so I could not be present at that hearing to present exculpatory evidence in my favor. So they violated my rights to due process. When did they tell me about this? On February 1st, 2013. Now, when you have a medical license in the state of Florida, you have to renew it every 2 years. And the renewal date usually is in January, because it expires on January 31st. My license expired January 31st, 2013. On February 1st, 2013, exactly 1 day after my license expired, they gave me this document. No letterhead, no signature. We don't know who wrote it. How did they give me this document? When I couldn't renew my license online, I went to Tallahassee at the Department of Health to find out what was going on. And I was walking up and down the hallways of the Board of Department of Health trying to find out why my license was not renewed. A lady, an identified lady, as I was walking, she just handed me this letter and she just walked off. That's the way I found out why I was terminated from Medicaid for cause and my license was not renewed. Therefore, I filed a petition for an administrative judge hearing. That's Exhibit E1, E2. Again, you can find this information on the website. According to this document, a hearing was scheduled for me for June 2013 in order to be reinstated in Medicaid. But wouldn't you know, and this is the actual notice for the hearing, wouldn't you know that before the hearing, somebody sent an email from an old email account of mine to the Department of Health indicating that I did not want to renew my Florida license. This is the email. Again, you can download from the website. It's a fraudulent email. And it was written more likely than not by Reginald Estelle, Jr., the lawyer that was disbarred by the Florida Supreme Court in 2017. Reginald Estelle weaseled himself into my life in 2012 with the excuse that he was going to help me with some issues that I was having with finding the right lawyer. Actually, Reginald Estelle was sent as a Trojan horse in my life to bring about my destruction. He's the only person that could have sent this email. And this email was used to commit the third crime against me, to make a report into National Practitioner Data Bank that I surrendered my license in 2013. Why would I surrender my license? And if that report is based on this email, why don't just say that I didn't want to renew my license? Why we use the word surrender? The word surrender is a very inflammatory word, and it was used specifically to make me look bad. I went to Nevada about 3 months ago and met with the executive director of the Nevada Board of Medical Examiners and told him, Mr. Coisano, they put in the National Practitioner Data Bank that I surrendered my Florida medical license in 2013. That's a fabrication because I didn't have any reason to surrender a license that was generating $1 million a year for me. And what he told me was, well, if you surrendered your license, they were supposed to tell us why you surrendered the license. And that's what I'm asking the Department of Health. And if you are a righteous person that works at the Department of Health, please find out why did they report to the National Practitioner Data Bank that I surrendered my license when I didn't have any reason to surrender my license. My license was not at risk to be revoked, was not at risk to be suspended, there were no complaints against me, the license was not at risk to be restricted. That was done specifically to prevent the renewal of my Florida license. And that's what I call crypto-lynching. I was virtually lynched, and for 8 years I've been living in a cage without bars. Thank you for listening. Please go to some serious allegations against some very powerful men in this presentation. Let me add one more thing. Here is a letter that was received by the Duval County Medical Society in January 2013. This letter states that the Department of Health is concerned that I didn't renew my Florida medical license. And this is a reminder. In 29 years of practice, I never received a reminder to renew my license. Why did they send this letter? And why did they call the Duval County Medical Society instead of calling me directly? It's very, in my opinion, because somebody was waiting for my renewal application so that they can block it. When they didn't receive it, they sent this letter to the Duval County Medical Society, and Duval County Medical Society sent me this letter to remind me. That's very funny. You can ask any doctor that you know, do they ever receive a reminder for their license? No, you never receive a reminder to renew your license.